Gregerson. I would like to thank everyone who was involved in today's planning of today's program. Dr. Gregerson, Danielle Campbell, and the Pitt Greensburg Veterans Action Team. Friends, family, and all those who've taken this day to show your respect for the veterans. Please bear with me. I've never spoken to a group this large before. It's usually only family members. Veterans Day has always been a special day for me. It's a time to honor all those who served. Best way I know how to tell my story. In May of 1967, I received my draft notice. At that time, Vietnam was a big thing, and almost all the men, boys really, were being drafted going there. I sure didn't want to go, so I went to see the Army to get some insight to what I was in for. Well, he confirmed that being drafted meant that I pretty much likely would be going to Vietnam. He told me there was another option. If I enlisted and took an extra year, I could choose my overseas duty and my MOS. That's my job training. One more year instead of going to Vietnam, I thought was a pretty good thing. Vietnam sounded good at one time to a lot of guys when they got there. At that time, being a pretty dumb 19-year-old wasn't a good thing for many people. So in July of that year, I was sent to Fort Jackson, South Carolina for basic training, then to Fort Gordon, Georgia for advanced training. To my surprise, after completing my training, I came down on orders for Vietnam. I arrived in Cam Ranh Bay Replacement Center, signed as a telephone installer. Not too bad, fairly safe. And came a change of orders. I was sent north to the 459 Signal Battalion, Company B. I arrived a week before the event of 1968, the largest offensive of the war. A series of surprise attacks. Life expectancy of an RTO in combat is only 30 seconds. I understood then what replacement really meant. After 6 weeks with the infantry, I was hit in the rear with a shrapnel. Lucky for me, when my father found out about this, he said, like father, like son. At least he was going in the right direction. My dad had shot me back in the Second World War while escaping from a German firing squad. He lost his lung and got his sense of humor. I spent 3 weeks in Vietnam and returned to my unit. Soon afterwards, there was 8 of us that was deployed 18 miles north of the Korean division to building a communications site. While we were there, monsoons hit. Couldn't get any supplies in, so we ate kimchi and rice for about 3 weeks. Then one day the Koreans served fresh meat. Sergeant Kim asked us how dinner was, and he added, "Monkey good." Some guys lost their dinner. Days later, another soldier, Orlando, and I were sent back to our base camp for supplies. On the way, we came upon a truck turned over. It was an Arvin truck, South Vietnamese soldiers, 9 in total. Their vehicle had been flipped by a roadside bomb. What we didn't realize was that it was an ambush set up by the Viet Cong. As we were loading the wounded onto the truck, we came under fire. We managed to save 8 out of the 9. One was shot and killed as I was loading him onto the truck. We got the others to safety, called a medevac chopper in. I left Orlando there with the weapons, and I hitched a ride back to my base. Orlando and I was later awarded the Bronze Star for battle. 2.5 months later, I was on my way home. One day I was in the jungle, just trying to survive. The next, I was landing in Seattle Airport, where we were told not to wear our uniforms because there were protesters there. It's no secret Vietnam veterans have not received the welcome home or recognition given to other veterans in other wars. I'm glad to see that's changed, and I'm grateful that today's soldiers are shown the thanks and respect that they deserve. The rest of my service was calm in compared to Vietnam. I spent 18 months in Northern Texas serving as a battalion crypto NCO in charge of standard operating procedures. The position required an FBI background check. That sure got my little town of Salina talking. Early on, I had one memorable incident. There was a field training exercise coming up which required a classified standard operations procedure. The guy I was replacing hadn't told me where to find it. When the first sergeant of the Army, he was not pleased with me. Luckily, I found it, but not before getting a real chewing out. That was nothing compared to my time in Vietnam. A few months later, I was called into the first sergeant's office for a re-enlistment talk. I was promised a promotion, $10,000. Thankfully, the first sergeant was honest with me. He said that being a combat NCO, I'd be back in Vietnam within 6 months. That ended our conversation. So that's my story. I remember like it was yesterday. What I want to leave with you is this. Every veteran has a story. It's a credit on them for their lives. Please keep honoring the veterans as they're doing here today. Honor them when you see them in public. And most importantly, honor them in ensuring that they receive the benefits that they earn and deserve. Thank you for listening, and have a happy Veterans Day to my brothers and sisters.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you and all the veterans here today and those who can't be here today for your service. And by the way, those of us who have gray in our hair, I can't imagine fitting into